it up.
Recording this time.
Welcome to the second meeting of the month of March for the Litchfield Recreation Commission. We have an agenda to go through tonight. We don't have any minutes to go through because of the delay in the film from last time. They haven't been written. And we start our way off with input from the public. We have 6 people here, so who would like to begin? Come on down. State your name and let us know.
Shouldn't take too long. Robert Barry from 56 Pilgrim Drive and board member of the Litchfield Pickleball Group.
Okay.
I just got 4 small items basically to talk about. The most important one is communication between our group and our sign-up and the Talent Hall calendar. Seems to be lots of gaps there.
Have you contacted Andy or?
Contacted Andy back on November 14th. There was a informal meeting at Talent Hall between Gary Fitz, a former board member, and Bruce Rottenberg. They talked about the winter kind of schedule of pickleball. They wanted to get a few extended hour time frames on the weekends. How that went about, by the time December 6th came in, Pete Burr, our guy who handles the sign-up genius for us, he said, as it was, and he can look at for what Andy put in on the town calendar, we had our regular time slots for the week, but when it came to the weekend, all we had on Saturday was 2 to 8. That was fine. But Sunday, we're limited to 12:30 to 3. So they were trying to get something extended. That didn't happen. And that's cool. We got no problem with that. But we're finding out that sometimes we're seeing on the town calendar that not only pickleball's not even showing up, but nothing else is showing up. And then sometimes we want to get an informal gameplay to play. We're thinking nothing's happening. We play for 1 hour, then all of a sudden some group shows up. It happened last Friday. Soccer kids showed up at 5 o'clock. We were there at 4 playing. I know we didn't have anything scheduled at 4, but there was nothing showing up. So we're kind of curious who's handling that calendar. How come stuff is not being put in, not being updated? How can that be fixed?
I mean, the only thing I can say towards that, it's Andy, Colleen, you two people.
Yeah, it's
put
definitely
the
Andy
calendar
that
stuff on
handles
there.
the scheduling piece like that. And I know there was a gap. I don't know how much of a gap there was between when he wiped out the
old
calendar,
one, right?
and then started anew with this after this past
Quarter.
meeting.
Yeah. So it was so the next quarter starts usually March. Usually,
But I don't know how many.
Usually there's a meeting in February and March, but there was definitely a transition problem with this quarter.
There was a blank calendar out there.
Yeah.
I saw it, and obviously that does cause confusion. Now, as you said, you submit. I mean, we have quarterly meetings that the other leagues submit their requests to Andy.
No, pickleball's invited. Pickleball
so they
usually
submit on a
usually
quarterly
submits their
basis as well?
times and
Okay.
everything too. It's I mean you get the emails that go out to everyone. Pickleball's on it, and
So
they
they
know
submit
about
on a
it.
quarterly basis.
So my guess is that some of that stuff was submitted. Again, I had this issue too with this quarter where I needed stuff on there, and it took a few times of me saying, "Are we getting it? Are we getting it? Are we getting it?" So, you know what I mean? There was definitely a gap. I don't know, and I don't know what was sent to Andy. I don't know if he just missed the update or I missed
Right.
the email or.
Has it since
I
been
don't-
corrected? Your calendar, with
All
your
I could-
requests?
Yeah, all I can say at this point is we're happy with what we have.
Okay.
We don't want to change what we have. But if, like last Friday where kids came in, there was well over a dozen kids to play soccer at 5 o'clock last Friday. How come the town calendar didn't show it?
And there's still nothing in the calendar at all for Fridays.
And-
Friday is completely
and,
blank.
And you know, here might be part of the problem. Again, it's so for lacrosse. I requested time. It took me a few times. I know that the things went out to soccer too. I don't know if they. My guess is they were re-requested because it's the same time because they were doing Fridays in the winter, so they're showing up at the same times. I just don't know if Andy re-added them to the calendar after he wiped everything out.
So Fridays you have, what is your request for Fridays?
I'm not requesting anything in
But-
addition.
No,
So
no,
our
but what is your
regular-
time on Friday?
Our regular, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays are 8:30 to 4. They have been like that for a long time.
There's nothing in here for,
there's
at all
nothing
for
listed.
lacrosse.
That's another thing we noticed. They were there for weeks, and then for the next couple of weeks, they were gone. They were just not put in.
Right.
Yeah, they're still not put in there. according
It's still
to
not
what
up to
So-
date, right.
And then the next week, all of a sudden, they'd show up, and then they were gone again. So we couldn't tell. We knew where our sign-up genius was, how we use that format, and everybody knows when to go, who's going to be there.
Right.
But sometimes the town calendar shows it, and sometimes it doesn't. So when that, like that, for instance, a couple weeks ago, when that cornhole tournament came up, we were happy to say, yeah, go ahead, you can bump us out for the hour. It's only this one time. It's no big deal. But we found out there was nothing happening much earlier in the day, so we could have taken our 2 slots and bumped them much earlier in the day and still been able to get in that second later slot and not interfere with cornhole, which was much later in the evening. But we didn't know about it because the town calendar wasn't up to date. We didn't know what was going on.
Right. This is a.
I can follow up with Andy, or you can
Yeah,
follow up with Andy. We'll try to find out.
Well, I know,
what's-
and I know you've followed up with Andy, so I'm just surprised it's not updated yet,
Yeah.
because I know there's been a couple of communications,
Yeah.
so I'm surprised it's not.
Okay. Now, is
If
this
you wanna
is
send-
this sort of like Andy's job or Andy's volunteering job to do this?
It's Andy's,
Volunteer, everything's
we're all
volunteer.
volunteer, right, so he's volunteered to take on the scheduling piece
Okay.
of the
Okay.
calendar.
and
you
there are
did
no-
send
there are-
yours-
There are no rec department.
I emailed Andy on a number.
So you sent Andy the schedule, do you know if you sent it to all of us? I'm just trying to find your email.
Yeah, it was sent to him.
Oh, but did you include it to the rec commission? Did you send it to just
I
Andy?
can't be
or
sure
the-
about that because that was either with Bob Hannock, our president, or at the time Pete Burr, our sign-up genius. But nothing's really changed in a long time as far as adding anything different in time-wise.
Right, but they do the quarterly meetings to continually update. So I know that we were looking for that constant feedback from everybody.
Yeah,
Even,
okay.
like he said, even the soccer, they were there during the winter. Well, they should also be saying, hey, we're gonna continue this Fridays
Yeah.
through whatever, May, if the snow
Yeah.
ever melts,
Okay.
possibly June.
Well, if you want to make a note, this is what it is that we have right now. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8:30 to 4.
Okay, let me just write it down, because we can just update the calendar. Monday, Wednesday to Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
Yeah,
8:30 to 4.
8:30 to 4. Tuesday, 8:30 to 2:30. Saturday, 2 to 8.
8:30 to 2:30. And then Saturday,
2 p.m. to 8 p.m. And Sunday, 12:30 to 3.
so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 to 4.
Mhm.
Tuesday, Thursday, 8:30 to 2. Saturday,
2:30.
2:30, sorry.
Yep.
Saturday, 2 to 8.
Yep.
Sunday, 2:30,
Sunday, 12:30,
12:30 to
3.
3. Thank you. My writing's terrible. I need my glasses. All right, so if this is a standing request that you go from quarter to quarter, so we can just build this out. I'll just tell Andy I'll build it out for pickleball.
And if any time you guys need to jump in something with another group, no problem.
Yep.
No problem.
No,
Just-
we know you're
let us
flexible.
know.
Yep, not a problem.
Okay. We can move on to the next thing. One of the basketball hoops was broken back in the
Yes.
holiday timeframe.
Did they take it down?
It is being held up by one of our guys' tow ropes.
See, I thought it was holding the roof down.
Basketball organization committed to repairing it after the season. They have a mason because it has to go into the cinder blocks in the outside wall that's gonna repair it.
Yeah, he just wants his rope back.
I talked to the president of the organization about 4 weeks ago, and he said he'd take care of that. I can follow up with him again. It's been about 4 weeks, so I thought it would already be done.
Yeah. So whenever it gets done and they're working on it, that rope is not to be thrown out.
Okay.
'Cause This guy wants his rope back. Okay. About over the holidays sometime frame, one of our guys went way back in the corner, slipped and tripped over his own feet, and hit into that volleyball pole there, the standing pole there,
Yeah.
and he hurt himself pretty bad. I think it'd be a good idea if we put some kind of padding around it. Is there any padding that can be put around those poles?
No, I mean, those
It's
are
very
the-
rare that happens,
yeah,
because it's
bases.
pretty far back.
the volleyball
How about
that
the
they
bases
have
of the
at
poles
LMS and stuff.
themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
Do
hit,
you wanna pad the pole?
some kind of round, like football padding poles or something like that.
I don't know. I don't know.
Nobody's
where-
ever asked, I mean, we could look
No.
into it.
Mhm.
I have no idea what the cost. I mean, I know we have the same stuff at LMS. There's nothing on those. We just kind of wheel them out of the way all the time and
Yeah.
keep moving around. There's 4 over there that I was worried about with basketball practices and games all the time.
Okay.
Less room at Talent. But now, who's using that now? Volleyball in there at all?
No, I don't even know. I don't even know if does it even have a net on it, or are they just
No,
the poles? I
no.
mean, I don't know why we even have them. I don't
They're
know.
empty.
Does the net exist
Stick
upstairs?
it back up on the stage.
We could get rid of them. Yeah, move them.
Put them on the
Yeah,
stage and
it's
they'll be
not
out of the
being
way.
used, sure.
Put them in the shed.
Are they too tall for the shed?
I don't know if the height will work.
Well, if you can lay them down.
True.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, the last item is the floor condition, basically, and being cleaned. I brought it up to Kurt a while ago.
Yeah, we have it down here.
It would be nice if we can get it cleaned and by the tail end of the winter into the spring, as far as when the muddiness and dirtiness and stuff comes in, because we're constantly dry mopping it, but it does get quite dirty. And we, as a group, we come in there with our street shoes, we change them, we're up on the stage, we put our pickleball shoes on, we go out in the court. But I have seen multiple times parents with their kids and kids playing basketball and soccer and other groups, they'll come right in with their street shoes and start playing. Because those street shoes are the shoes that they wind up playing the sports. And they're right on the court. They're getting it all dirty all over again.
And we've sent out countless messages, please use the back door, please change your shoes, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think we've had the floor redone in
Not in a
a
long
year and a
time.
half or 2 years at
Oh.
least. At least.
More than that.
I don't think we can sand it anymore,
More
right,
than that.
Kevin?
Yeah.
But we can polish it, can't we?
Yeah.
Who did that for us last time?
The guy that, I can find out, the gentleman, he was on the rec commission. He's still around. He has moved out of town.
So let me know and we'll work that out. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for walking in.
All righty.
I would have been calling you tomorrow. This solved the problem.
I'm sitting here waiting for the next call.
And we have a regular janitor that takes care of the bathrooms and stuff?
There is a custodian that works the town hall and talent hall and so forth.
The soap needs to be replaced. My wife and I have brought in 2 different big jugs of hand soap.
He's
And
making,
they're down to like
he's
nothing.
making notes as we speak.
Okay. All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who's up next?
Not me.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm
State
Margaret
your-
Almeida.
State your name and address.
Margaret Almeida.
Yep.
10 Hopkins Street, Litchfield, New Hampshire.
Thank you.
And Alex Raperto, 68 Talent Road.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're here representing the Christmas and Litchfield Planning Committee that really kind of just was born out of interest in potentially having, just interested in trying to really think about maybe a center of town that we could decorate, or maybe having, I don't know, we got a bunch of people that came together just recently and we shared the minutes, we sent the minutes in, and hopefully you guys had a chance to read them. I can't see you guys over here. So we were thinking about a tree lighting celebration, and we came to the conclusion, so we have about 14 members of a planning committee, and we have about, I don't know, 200 plus interested
On our Facebook page.
members in a dedicated Facebook page, and it just was an idea, that people seem to be really attracted to. It was like kind of like the center of town. So we wanted to connect with you guys because we were, as a group, thinking that December 1st looked like a good date. We wanted to coordinate with the other Christmas celebrations kind of going on in town, and we wanted to kind of think about with you guys as well, put our heads together with the rec committee to consider different places that might be appropriate to hold it. I think that was our biggest barrier. We were like, okay, you know, we've got interest. We've got a motivated group of grassroots Litchfield Litchies that are, you know, wanting to do this. So now we want to take it to the next step, and we came up with 3 different locations.
Yep. Darrow and Talent Hall, the gazebo, which is outside of the town hall right here. And then the other one was over by the library,
Yes.
outside in the little area outside of the library.
Those were the 3 that were sort of considered those locations. And I think we all got a little bit stumped and felt, okay, the next step really seems to be, let's think about putting our heads together with the town around, you know, bathroom accommodations to make sure families are comfortable.
Electricity,
Yep.
Parking,
And
parking's a
parking.
consideration.
dependent on the weather, you know, if there was an inside area.
Cold. Yeah.
Here, if the construction of the fire station, obviously, like what that would
Look
That's,
like.
that's gonna be,
weigh out.
that's a couple hundred feet that way, so.
Okay, so that's not an issue. Okay, good.
So that's what we're here for.
Yeah, right.
And we were also hoping at some point, you know, we are aware that there may be potential funding for beautification, and potentially with the right idea, proposal, there may be some access to some of the funds. We still don't, again, have, you know, exact idea of what would be needed. I mean, we would like to have decorations for a tree. We're thinking we could probably come up with donations for that and have maybe here a drop-off station of lights, you know, depending on, you know, would we pick, you know, lights that are colored or just white lights, and then what would we like to have that look like? Would there be the potential for having, if we were thinking if it was over at the hall,
Yeah.
maybe an indoor area where kids can make their own decorations,
Decorations,
family
yeah.
decorations, and hang
And we
it
would have
in a-
music and
yeah, and at the end, you know, maybe take it back with them, you know, and donate a couple bucks and take it with them for something to keep and, you know, hold on to. So there was a lot of great ideas. I think the priority is really this
location, so we can kind of move forward from
sort
there.
of, yeah, and where that would be the best.
What are your thoughts?
So I guess my first question is, are you trying to create trees outside of these 3 locations? Is that your goal?
Well, so
One tree
Go ahead.
lighting ceremony, like a celebration, a tree lighting celebration. So having families come together in one location, we just didn't know which location was best.
Oh, you're not looking to do 3 and
No.
drive? Okay.
No.
No.
So we had 3 potential locations for one,
Yeah,
and we didn't know
One tree.
what the fire station construction would look like. We wanted to get feedback from the committee for best parking, bathroom accommodations. We were thinking if we decided as kind of a group, if it was over at the Talent Hall area, maybe if we got a tree, we could potentially move it here.
transport
you
it so
know.
it's in the center of town here.
So we
over
could
by the
have the
gazebo.
accommodations of the town hall and people to be comfortable, and the weather and the parking seems to be at that best at that location. So,
So it would be decorated at Talent and then transported somehow over.
that was potentially an
over
idea.
here.
That was an idea. Yeah, this
Now-
is all kind of on the table. We had
Right.
one meeting and we just wanted to invite and get the input and buy-in of
So
the
the
rec
tree
committee.
lighting ceremony you have for Saturday, December 1st, from
Yes.
6:30 to 8.
Yes.
Now, once it's lit, is the idea to keep the tree lit for the month of
At
December?
night, that would be ideal, yeah.
So we need electricity,
Electricity,
somewhere. Now,
yes.
does the gazebo have electricity?
Yes.
It does.
They
okay.
do put lights, right, correctly,
Okay.
already on it, right?
Do they?
I think so. I feel
Not
like they
observant.
do.
Now, obviously, I mean, Talent. You have the Talent Hall facility, and I'm not sure projecting out. I don't think basketball plays on at 6:30 on Saturday night, do they? If you
Oh,
move
that's
forward 6
Early
months,
December? Probably
8 months.
No, pickleball would be there.
Pickle, yeah.
You know, they said they said they can move out for that day, so, but pickleball's usually there on the Saturday nights during
6:30?
the winter, so.
6:30? Oh, it is 8 o'clock. Yeah, until 8 o'clock. That's right. So I mean, that would be that to me seems like weather permitting, the nicest area to, if you're gonna have children and
Families.
making decorations, if it's just something that's come here and hang a ornament, it could be done easily out here at the gazebo.
But to that point, if they're looking to do kid drawings
Right.
and tables and games and that sort of thing,
Something we
that's
wanna do.
definitely a place we'd wanna go with, would be
Right.
town.
But then it's a matter of getting the tree over here,
Yeah.
decorated with the bulbs and lights.
Yeah.
If
falling
if
off
the
the
if the
tree.
tree's being moved.
Yeah, or
I mean-
unless
Or
there's,
where could we leave it, I guess?
I mean,
We could,
I'll give you an out of the box idea is that you, in addition to lighting the tree up, you could put lights around the pavilion and light the pavilion up with a tree in the middle of it.
I love that.
That's a good idea.
And then leave the tree there. You can leave the tree there in the winter because it's covered and everything.
That's why Mike's here.
Yeah.
that's a good idea. I like that.
big though.
The pavilion's
We
big.
want a big tree.
How tall is it?
I want a big tree, yeah.
You want to get a big
The,
tree.
the
in it.
inside
You got
pavilion
plenty- it's huge
is
in there.
what,
It's
11
big in
feet?
it?
Yeah, huge.
I don't know. You know
Yeah,
how tall?
about 10 to 12 feet.
I said 11, I'm sorry.
It's tall.
I'm trying to stay between.
I can't dunk it in there, so.
Well, you won't see if they put and they're gonna keep it at 10, because the star will be up in the rafters.
I mean, to protect from elements, putting it inside the pavilion probably make the most sense.
That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, you have to tie it down and everything, but
Well, the nice thing is you get the facility to do your crafts with the families and stuff. You've got plenty of parking. You know, and that should be pretty safe in the,
You get the whole
pavilion.
field for people to
Would
stand
we
there.
be able to, if we're gonna be doing, so it's just a thought, we wanted to do like hot cocoa and things like that, would be able to use that, yes,
the
thank
snack
you.
shack? The snack shack?
yeah, just
I don't see
for
why
like
not.
hot chocolate.
Just
and
serve it?
Maybe
I don't
some,
see why not at
you know,
all.
a snack or
Yeah.
something for the kids.
Yep.
Cause if they're gonna be walking from there to do that, it'd probably be nice to have
Yep.
that option.
Well, like the turkey bowl, we just set up on the picnic tables out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
We just brought hot chocolate and so forth and set up on the picnic tables
Oh, okay,
outside. It
so
all depends
either-
on,
yeah,
it all depends on the
however, it's-
temperature and the weather.
Yeah, and I don't know how many
It's
people,
doable, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You just made that easy. That sounds good, because that'll be visible to everybody going by and.
oh yeah, I mean,
And again, that's just
Well-
the best place to do it, I think.
How do we go about, like, expanding it from just the tree to lighten up the pavilion a little
Yes,
bit?
that's a question. Is
Well,
that,
I
is
mean,
that
I think,
possible?
yeah, I mean, I think because we're sort of in this initial, very early on, we wanted to just present the idea to the committee and make sure that this sounded reasonable to you guys and that, you know, I think.
Find out what our next steps pretty much were.
Yeah, I mean, like in terms of for the parking and just making sure, like using it, we would like to reserve that December 1st, you know, from the, and I know your pickleball group is there. Yeah.
Thank you.
they're getting plenty of notice for this one. So.
We're starting.
Participates in the,
We are
tree
starting. I
lighting.
know the snow's not even gone, and we're already starting. But we were like, we don't know how many, you know, for people to come out and resources and volunteer. And I think, you know, this has been something that has been tossed around in the What's Up Litchfield group, sort of Facebook conversations, and we wanted to kind of breathe some life into it. And like I said, bring it here early on so that you guys had not only a heads up, but also be supportive and give us some feedback and ideas in terms of, again, parking, bathrooms, and, you know, because getting, like, bathroom facilities enough for everybody, I don't know what is there at,
There's 2 stalls, right? for
Yeah,
the-
talent has, yeah.
Yeah,
so.
so it should be fine.
So to do something like this, keep it official, we would have to co-sponsor the event
Yeah.
as a group, because they
Yes.
don't have any group they're organized with. And we need somebody to step up. I'll be honest, it's December, probably won't be me. So as we come closer to the time, somebody from the RecCom will probably, unless somebody's objecting to that, we can take a vote, but, we would co-sponsor the event, and that
We would,
covers us as
Would
far as
like
why
that.
we're utilizing the facility
Yeah,
and everything
we
like
would
that.
like that.
Gives you a lead group, we could probably get it on our Facebook page as well, if we're doing something like this.
Great, okay.
that'd be great, yeah.
So I just, first of all, thank you for bringing this forward. I think it's a great idea, and obviously you've got a lot of support. So, my wife is actually on the planning committee, so I can serve as liaison, because I'll be hearing it at home and here, so, you can put me down as kind of liaison,
What's your name?
Peter Ames.
Oh, okay.
So, I'd I'd be happy to support that. So I think, ditto what everything said here. I think having the options for inside, outside is really key for that time of year. The only thing I would add is, there's a lot of great charity work that goes on in the town in that time of year, and so you may just want to look to see if there's ways to align some of the things they're doing to bring it into the fold as well, because I think they'd want to support you.
Charity, okay, yeah, that's actually,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
So where do we move from here? Can we secure that date and,
Wanna make a formal
start
vote?
moving forward as,
We can do a yeah, I mean, we can formally tentatively vote, it's all gonna be tentative because there's a date, but there's no plans or anything, so.
so we would have to come up with some more plans
Yeah,
and then come
so,
back?
yeah, I'll make a motion to, have the rec commission co-sponsor a Christmas tree lighting with,
Christmas in Litchfield.
Christmas in
Tree lighting
Litchfield
celebration.
celebration. Tentatively scheduled for December 1st from
6 to 8:30.
6, so we'll say 5.
Sorry, 6:30
5
to 8, excuse me.
5 to 10 at the entire Darrow facility, including Town Hall.
Perfect.
Great, thank you.
So that gives you time to get the tree there,
Yep.
stand it up.
I'll second it. You have any further discussion we want to go? As we get close to the time and Peter's stepping up, that's fabulous, and we'll just keep working it, and
Okay.
keep us informed.
Yeah, we'll
and
definitely.
We've already got our emails, and
Yep,
we'll link through. Peter will talk to us. And
Yeah.
Very good.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
We appreciate
you.
your time.
anything, got a
Vote,
motion?
yeah, we gotta vote.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sounds like fun.
It does.
Let's see.
What's next?
More public output.
Jessica? Is that you? No?
Wait a minute, this
Oh.
gentleman's standing.
Who's next? Oh, okay, good.
Name is Steve Lowen, Lowen, 7 Sugar Hill Lane, Litchfield.
I'm sorry, 7.
Sugar Hill Lane,
Thank you.
Litchfield. Okay. I'm on the board of the pickleball.
Oh, okay.
Okay. There's one other potential problem. There are dead spots on the floor, and you bounce the ball and you can just hear it. And it's perfectly playable, but we should be aware of what the problem is, whether it's a subflooring or it's decaying of the boards or what it is.
There is no, there's a crawl space under there.
Okay.
And I think Kevin and I are the only two that have been under there. It's pretty bad and ugly, and building's old and deteriorating
Okay.
at a decent pace. We have no funds to replace the building
Well, I'm
as
sure of that.
such, or even the major construction would be to redo the floor. From last time we went under was what, 5-6 years ago?
3 years ago, we re-insulated all the insulation that fell down from the
Okay.
housing. That was fun.
And yes, there are dead spots all over that
Yeah.
floor. Basketball is always a great time on there. We would love to build a nice brand new facility. It's just the cost involved in that's about $2.5 to $3 million. So that hasn't come up as a budget item yet.
I just brought it up because I thought maybe there's a way to repair it before it needs to, to extend the life of it. That's the only reason I brought it up.
I'll leave it to our building department expert back there.
It's a wood joist floor. It's got columns at least 6 to 8 feet apart that were done at one time when they redid it. When it was turned over, they spent a lot of time re-supporting the wood deck floor. They brought it up at the levels they could. The outside edges around, okay, so the outside will do this, they'll force up. Not like connected to the wall, it's up to the edge of the wall. There's a shelf there, so it's not gonna fall down or anything. The wood floor joists were white just getting, I wanna say, it's losing its modulus of elasticity. Okay, it's not stiff anymore, it's this sagging. Okay, it doesn't bounce back, and that's why you're getting the soft, the dead spots. That's a big decision that needs to be done to the floor. You can look at it where, well, okay, we'll put a concrete deck with an insulated floor in there, something like that, you know, with no crawl space. You have to tear everything out, bring in fill, pour concrete with a rubber base to it, or something like that. You know, it's not cheap. So you gotta look at the total cost of the building, the heating, the HVAC, and everything else associated with it. It's gonna be interesting. We had a discussion with a firehouse once this year. That one would even be more exciting.
As I said, it was just, it's there, and we play on it, and it's certainly fine, but obviously it has a problem. Just bring it to your attention, that's
If
all.
you can mark out those spots with something so that I'll crawl underneath again, I'm old enough, okay? Don't move the sink at the bottom of the hole, that's my only reason for getting out of that little sink down there. It's the right height for me to crawl out.
I would die going under there.
Okay, you can mark it, I can go in to see if there's something happening with the joist in that area, that
Okay.
we could stiffen it up some,
Okay,
okay?
yeah.
I'll get more problem. I love dark spaces.
The worst part is when you go through the double door, it's off to your left,
Right.
and it looks darker than the rest of the floor
Yeah.
around it.
Off to your left, and that's where your hole is, another hole in the floor there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one that's fun to get in and out of.
yeah, and you can just hear it, I mean, you take a ball and bounce it and go, yeah.
Yeah, the joist in that area is a little different
Yeah.
underneath that. Go look at the moisture problems that they have for years. There are some critters in there this time of year.
Oh,
They're fun.
that's why I'll never be down there.
Yeah, you couldn't pay me enough to go
The
underneath
last
that
time
building.
we
I'd be afraid it would
went
fall on
in
me.
there, there was mice, squirrels, a lot of little snakes.
Oh,
But they weren't bad ones.
there's good snakes out there.
No skunks.
Yeah, no,
That building was built in 54.
those are under the concrete pads out near the playground.
When it was Camp Litchfield, it was a Jewish.
The thing is if you get
Summer
sprayed by a
camp.
skunk, they'll leave you alone, all the other critters.
Yeah,
Kind of history to that building.
so will everybody else.
Celtics used to play up here. Okay, train in that building from Boston, because that's where the gentleman lived, was in that area, and he let him come up to practice. Little bit of history.
Go ahead, Rob.
Baskets were only replaced 10 years ago.
Yes.
That's not a bad idea.
So that's what the panel is, to get down.
Right, there's two of them, there's one next to the bathroom,
Yeah.
right there, and there's one at the far left-hand side as you walk into the front door.
Yeah,
Those are interesting places.
yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
You can go in.
What Kevin doesn't tell you is he can walk under there.
Yeah,
He doesn't crawl, he
okay.
just stands.
I can't roll.
No, he's described as pretty nasty.
Who's next?
Are we on the agenda or are we part of the public input?
So is Jessica here?
No.
So Jessica's not here.
Planning board,
We're the planning board,
come on up.
so. Have you closed public input?
No, well, yes and no. We never close public input in this group.
There's no Robert's rules going on.
Oh, I
No,
see.
not here.
It's kind of fast and loose.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna butt up.
We don't care.
I'll give them my copy. I don't know if they have it on their computer.
Yeah, we do have copies, I believe, for the board. Thank you. This is Cassie Mullen. She is with the Nashua Regional Planning Commission.
Okay.
She's here this evening to take
Cassie?
notes.
Cassie.
That's why she left the money.
So I will pass these out.
So you work with Jen with all the consonants in her last name?
Yes, this is.
Oh, she doesn't get mad at me for saying that.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Michael Croto. Members of the board, my name is Michael Croto. I am the chairman of the Litchfield Planning Board. With me this evening is Kim Queenan. She is the vice chair. The reason we are here before you this evening, we have been, the planning board has put together a subcommittee to look into putting into the master plan for the town a chapter design plan chapter that would look at different areas of town and what those areas basically would want, what we would as a town want to see in those areas. And when I mean areas, I'm talking about the civic areas where the town hall is located, where recreation is located, Darrow Pond, activity centers, and historic, whether it be the old town hall, Litchfield, where the church is on 3A, those types of things. So what we've been doing is the subcommittee was formed by the planning board and is working in conjunction with the planning board. We've had several meetings over the course of the last few months to look into the issue of, well, what do we see as the vision for Litchfield in terms of design, in terms of what things look like? What do we want to see in town? Basically, do we want strip malls? Do we not want strip malls? Do we want nice architecture? Do we want to preserve the character of the town? Those types of things. The last meeting we got together, it was on February 20th. We got together and we looked at the recreation issue. And we looked specifically at Darrow Pond. And so this is going to be a fun exercise tonight. So if we have the, this is what we did. We got a map of Darrow Pond. We all got around the table, and I think for tonight, if everybody wants to gather around, you're welcome to. So we'll make room here. We wanted to see what are things that might be of interest to people in town regarding Darrow Pond. We took a map and we took some tracing paper. And hopefully I have this right. And there is a map on the back of your handout as well that shows this. So we took a map. We started to draw out the area around Darrow Pond, and what was interesting about this project was people were telling us, well, there are some very interesting things about Darrow Pond. Number one, it has a shaded playground area that's very, that people like to use in town. There's a beach on Darrow Pond. People do, I understand, some people do swim there. There are trails, I think, in part of the area of the pond. I'm sorry, where the beach is that comes out. There are zip lines, etc. A whole bunch of different things. And what we did was we wrote down different things we wanted to see, or at least want to see for the future of the area. We put in where the road is. Could there be an entrance, parking spaces? Could there be a kiosk, a pavilion? I know a bandstand was once mentioned. Different things like that. So this is the thing. We came up with different ideas for what the pond could, what uses the pond could have for the future. Tonight, what I would like to do is have you guys, because you are the rec experts, and you are basically in charge of Darrow Pond, recreation area. What would you like to see for the future of Darrow Pond? what it looking like. Now, I want you to think of it realistically, not in the sense, and there's no financial issue involved in this, okay? If there's nothing to do with money or anything. It has to do what your conception of the area should look like, or would you like to see. So I'm going to open it up to you guys. What would you like to see? We put stuff on this, what we thought were things that were important, and we listed them in the handout. Well, it starts on page 1 at the bottom, but it goes into page 2 on the other page, on the backside. Trail networks, a barbecue area. Could there be a place for a splash pad? That was one of the things discussed by members of the subcommittee. Wildlife stations, those types of things. So I guess what we're here tonight is to basically give you an opportunity to see what you guys want.
So
And
let me roll back to history. History is recreation fields, Darrow Pond area. All of this is about what volunteers in town want to make of it. So if someone wants to come on board and say, hey, this is where I want to go, this town has accepted that. As you said, there's no monetary thing. As I say to the selectmen every year, our budget 10 years ago was 110 grand. It's less than that now. And we've maintained that value to the town by volunteerism. So if there's a group of people that are willing to come on board and present and create, we've always gone towards it. There is a trail network that was started. It extends all the way out to the parking lot area, right in the back of Town Hall. It runs back along the side. There's more over here, and there's some up along the roadside.
How
It was
far does
just
that
never.
go,
It was
John?
just never connected.
How far does that go? How many?
Right to the fence.
How many?
What's the actual
What's the distance?
distance? Can't be much more than 400 or 500 yards.
Oh, okay.
Just based on how much territory is out there.
Okay.
It doesn't cut towards the. It goes kind of straight towards the pond. It follows the fence line, goes around the basketball courts, and hooks down toward. That's where they stop.
Okay, so there's no way to get a couple mile run in.
No, it's not that big. I think that if you use the entire outskirts of the field, you might get a half a mile.
Yeah.
If you map the entire area out, and I think that was the original intent. If you'll notice near the parking lot, it's one of those gravelly substances, the real thin gravelly substances. They started running in, heading towards the whole vinyl fence area, running along that area. And the intent at one point, and this goes back at least a dozen years, was we want to create this walk path back here. I think what got recognized was it didn't go anywhere. It didn't connect to anything.
That looks better.
well, I'm looking at it and I'm going, why is the writing upside
See it now
down?
better.
That might be better. This is what it should look like. I'm sorry.
We're losing a lot of pine trees back there right now at the confidence course. It seems like every time we have a strong wind, we're losing pine trees. So that rope course or confidence course might not be valid anymore. I mean, if you look at the base of all those pine trees, they're being eaten pretty good right now by ants.
So the course is inspected and paid for and used every year, and they don't use the low ropes course for the inspection. The high school still uses the low ropes course and the high ropes course when available. The inspector and Coach K, anybody knows Coach K, who's in Florida right now, when he comes up in the spring, he's part of the two-team inspection. They get up in the ropes, they check all of them, and yes, as we've gone down the path, they've got a few phone poles back there to replace as the pine trees have been damaged. Some good high winds will take out those pine trees no matter what's hooked up to them.
I'm not saying the rope course is bad. I'm just saying the trees are starting to, go away
Fall,
pretty,
right.
pretty regularly.
Well, we had a couple big storms there that we lost a few giants as they went along. But that course is still inspected every year. It's still used every year. The use could be more if somebody was interested in going that way. The inspector that does the course, an ex-Coach K student, actually is the one who does most of the training and most of the work up in the course with the high school kids and so forth. The low ropes course, I can ask Coach if they even use it anymore. He would know on that, because when you get over towards the basketball courts, the way that course is laid out over there in the woods, it's a little dicey walking around.
What about the beach area? I know, someone said there's a beach area, I know.
There is.
Okay.
It's
Do
minimal,
people use it,
but
or-
people do use it. People do use
The
it.
beach area is
We have,
probably 75, 80 feet wide. It's decent sand going down there. We have had some residents on a regular basis show up with rakes and they clean it up. Kevin with his Valley Street crew would go down there every couple of years and clean up branches and trees
and
and so forth.
we did have milfoil removed from there a few years
We had a
ago.
milfoil project going there 4 or 5 years ago now, right?
Was it that many years ago?
It feels like it's a
I
long
thought it was,
time ago.
I would've said 3, but okay, maybe 4 or
The
5.
problem with Darrow Pond is it's a kettle hole. There isn't a feed or there's nothing, water does not flow through it.
Nothing goes in and out.
Yeah, it's a hole in the ground that's determined by the aquifer level that the wells are using. So when the wells draw too much, Darrow goes down. Unfortunately, the oxygen levels go down too, because what'll happen is when we have rain, it'll wash the silt into the water. It's hard for the fish to live in that pond.
Do you know what kind of fish are in there?
Bass, perch, sun.
So is it a warm water pond? Would you say?
All warm water.
All warm water, so you
Yes.
don't.
Spring fed in the bottom, in the middle, the springs out there.
Yeah, when you get in the middle, you can actually see the sand. I mean, it's amazing. Like you can, as deep as it is, I don't know how deep it is, but you can see the sand at the bottom.
15 feet to 20 feet in the middle.
Yeah.
No real water skiing on that.
Now, we have, as you mentioned, we have talked in the past about a splash pad.
Correct.
Is something like that possible?
I mean, I guess I have to defer to you guys. Do you see that as a possibility?
Depends
Well, we
if Primex
definitely-
lets us do it.
We definitely,
Right.
that playground is utilized regularly by, I'm guessing, most of the families, if not all the young families in town. So to have an option like that, I think would even promote the park even more, for the young families to come out and
I mean, there used to be horseshoe pits there. Any addition, an outdoor volleyball court, we've talked about putting something like that in if somebody's interested in that. We are, as a group, open to things like that, without a
big
doubt.
facility. I mean,
Right, and
this-
that's
this
kind of
space.
the idea of what we're looking at. If, you know, if you had, you know, the opportunity, and you wanted to see something there, what would it be? And that's really what this exercise is tonight. I mean, we put stuff in because people had talked about the park. You know, a lot of people use the park. It's shaded. They like that. The subcommittee talked about the high ropes and the low ropes areas. Can those still be used? The parking situation. I mean, is there enough parking? You know, do you want a pavilion, a barbecue pit, those types of things?
Well, there is a pavilion there,
Okay.
so that's, and it's beautiful. I mean,
Okay.
there's, the barbecue pit, I don't know.
There's no open fires allowed there, so
Right.
I think the barbecue pit, it's one of our rules. I mean, I just read it today.
Right, we'd have to go to the fire chief and see if he's willing to do something like
allow
that, right.
Okay.
Past fire chiefs have said, a dream.
Yeah.
We have, anytime we have a fire there, there's somebody from the fire department on location. We've done a couple bonfires.
Right,
and-
I'd say, I mean, the pavilion's there, it definitely gets utilized, summertime, obviously, it's most,
Right,
Yeah.
we talked about putting a bandstand inside the pavilion when we built it. It just hasn't gotten to that point. There was a seniors group that was interested in building one, and
Is that
hasn't
something
come
you'd like to
fruition.
see in the future?
I'd love to see something like that.
Okay. Any particular area on here where you'd like to see it?
well, the pavilion is there already.
Yeah.
So if we were gonna put it.
It's got the power and everything set to the pavilion, so the location would be near the pavilion.
Okay.
And again, with the reality that the softball fields are also there as well, we'd have to be
Right.
cautious. We had talked at one point about a portable bandstand, something you could,
Portable bandstand?
yeah.
Okay.
So if you see, I mean, you see the playground, it's, if you're looking at it, it's, if you're looking from the parking lot into the playground, it's to the left of the playground, the pavilion. You
Yeah,
get a
there's
snack
the
shack,
Snack shack
pavilion.
and then the pavilion.
Basketball courts obviously are noted on here, and that's,
Because someone
Next to
I
talent.
think they put down here, create a barbecue area near the fields, a pavilion playground, a rent out barbecue pavilion for revenue. Needs wayfinding signage. I don't know, is there a kiosk or something when you enter the park?
there
There are
is.
two.
There are
It's on the other
is
side
it?
of the street.
Okay, so,
One is down near the beach area,
okay,
and one's at the beginning.
okay.
By the softball field.
But you had drawn it up on the wrong side of the driveway. It's actually on the non-softball field side. You have it written, or you wrote it up on the softball side.
That's
on
where
the
they
other side.
envisioned it.
Yeah, that's where
Oh.
this was
Did
kind
anybody,
of a visioning thing.
Did anybody walk the property? I'm curious, because
No.
you envisioned something, but it's already there. I mean,
No,
I'm
we
just-
just took the map.
Oh,
of what
okay,
we
all
had.
right.
So if, say we wanted to put a road there, or say that the road, or you wanted to put a road there.
Yeah.
I guess that's what they were thinking. So it wasn't really, I mean, it's not,
Okay.
it's not basically, it's kind of, okay, what do you think? And,
There were, I think, two there that
yeah,
played there or had been there as scouts before.
Yeah,
They knew
yeah.
some of the area.
Yeah, one of them,
that was just a
let's get there.
suggestion.
Well,
Go-
there
go
is,
ahead,
there is a road there, so.
Good, Peter.
I said improve
So I
it.
just want a couple things if we've been on a different couple paths there. So, thank you for diving into this. I think, Darrow Pond in that area is potentially a huge asset for the town, both for the residents and to attract for people to move into the town, and property value. These type of things really matter, particularly for families in the town. So I've had a lot of experience using this area. So a couple things I wanted to just draw your attention to. The beach area, it certainly does need to be cleaned up, either through a dredging or a redumping of sand there, and probably better maintaining or better helping navigate the runoff, because it will cut through that beach area every time there's a big rainstorm. So there needs to be like a culvert or something put in potentially to make it so it doesn't wash out during storms. But if there's fresher sand in there, you get people to play in the stand, because right now it's got a lot of fish hooks and weeds growing up and that kind of thing. But the fish hooks, going to the beach thing, I don't think it has a lot of hope for swimming down there, but it definitely has a lot of attention for fishing, because you got a lot of stupid fish down there, so people go down and have a good time very easily. So something like a dock or bench, I think, would be very valuable to folks down there. It does get a lot of use in the summer with fishing. Also, you mentioned the walk-in boating. I think, if there was a way to move parking spots up towards the beach, I know people do it even though they're not supposed to right now, but they drive their cars down there. If there was a couple, formal parking spots down by the beach, I think that would help out a lot of people to bring down small watercraft to that area. The splash pad, I put this right hand in hand with the playground, just a really big asset, I think, for this town. I think the playground. The playground needs a lot of work, got some broken things there. It doesn't have as many items as I think it could use. The swings are for small kids, there's no big swings. A couple things have been broken, so updating that I think could be an easy fix. But the splash pad, we don't really have good swimming options in Litchfield. You've got the river, which is risky if you're going to jump in there, and Darrow, which it's a warm thing. We got blooms in the summer there, so a splash pad to qualify a kid I think would be really well utilized. So I think that, along with the playground, would make a lot of folks happy in town. Road access and parking. Yeah, no, I think those are the big things. It is definitely kind of a hub in town, and so anything to make it more accessible for people to get down there, and just the aesthetics, particularly of the beach area, would go a long way, because it really is a beautiful spot, but it just needs some a little bit of love to keep it up to where people would want to keep on going down there.
The regular boaters who use that have been asked to drive in, unload, and park in the parking lot, as opposed to leaving their vehicles down there. That was one of the reluctance to putting spaces down there. At one point, we were closing the gate because of the number of cars heading towards the playground area and so forth. Personal conversation with most of the people who utilize it with their cars, we haven't had to close the gate. Everybody's been pretty cooperative towards that. And we haven't had the issues that we had 5 or 6 years ago based on just a few conversations, real easygoing conversations saying, hey, can you do this? Sure, nobody's asked. That's how I met some of the people who are raking it. As they come down, and you're like, hey, thanks for coming down and doing this. The pond itself, I assume you need some kind of permit if you're gonna do anything to removing any kind of vegetation inside the pond.
DES,
You'd have to go to
obviously,
DES and go through that
The
process.
beach area is where we've had the erosion. We stopped the erosion back when we cleaned up the drainage and we
Right.
got the brushing. And it was done not to do it, but it was left alone and no one touched it. They were too busy with ball fields all same time. The prisoners helped me with that. We got that all linked up. We've been maintaining that, and that stopped a lot of the erosion going down. There were a time where there was some kids and some trucks, that's part of life, okay? And they go down, but you see where it washed in over the years, there's a little jetty. It's only about 10 to 8 feet, or 20 to 8 feet of sand that washed out there. That could be cuffed back, okay, and put back, that's where it came from. It's just sand that washed off the top. You cup that back, get the DES to agree with something like that. It's pretty simple, okay? That's basically what we gotta do. As for the rest of the beach, it's in fine shape, it has to be raked, maintained. I've used the Valley Street boys to handle that as much as we can. We gotta cut some more brush, so we can see it again from the road.
Yep.
That's the secret there, okay? And, I'm all set, this has got a lot of potential. As for those pine trees that are in there, Green McCurt, there's a life expectancy to some of those. That decision needs to be made on some of them, because they're really dying on the inside, they're rotten.
Yeah, and they're huge, and those things come down.
Yeah, so you gotta look at the liability of those and.
We used a forestry person when we did the park, Litchfield Park.
Yeah.
Should we get that same person to come out and take a look at some of that stuff for us?
I think you should get a forestry professional to go in and look at the, or tree cutters guys, who are forestry guys, they look at the diseased trees and which one should come and which one should go.
I mean, nobody wants to hear about sticking something like that in the budget, but that's, taking down some of those monsters are gonna cost $12,000-15,000. But if we took a look at it this year, we could stick it in our budget for next year.
I agree with your thing, they can look at the long term, next year we budget, we see what we gotta do, we flag the trees, they have to come down to their condition, and I think you're gonna have a better spot, okay, to have everything, cause I'm more concerned with the older trees, okay, they're not gonna last, the ones that they have found, we can see where the cores will rot, okay, and that's what we're dealing with there. It's like old age.
Thanks.
Benches were also mentioned, to be in the shade and in the
Yeah,
sun.
there was something about, they discussed about benches on the trails. You know, when you walk trails sometimes, you see people put benches, like wooden benches along the way or little things. That was something that was mentioned.
There's only 400 yards of trail.
Yeah, exactly. It's,
Well, is it this just Darrow you're talking about, or the trails throughout? Same thing, having a few benches down there doesn't, it's
No,
not a negative.
there's 2 benches down by the beach already. But no, it's not a negative, no.
There's no benches near the playground,
Nope,
right?
No,
nope,
that's
just
true.
the pavilion, but that's not even near the, you gotta walk
What
down.
about picnic tables?
You've got the concrete pads there already that were there for the camps at the time. You could put the dirt up around that and put your picnic tables on top of that.
But we'd have to bolt them into the ground, because those picnic tables that used to be there are in the pond.
Correct. There's a way of doing
They
it.
don't float for some reason.
They didn't, they sank like stones.
But they was talking about putting picnic tables on the, in the sun and in the shade, because it depends where you wanna be there, if you wanna be there for a
Right.
day event.
Yeah.
I don't think it was just benches, I think they were talking.
Picnic tables, yeah. So there are several picnic tables, I don't even know how many, 8
At least.
8 to 10 picnic tables under the pavilion already. But there's nothing over by the playground, and there's nothing in the sun.
And if a splash pad, wouldn't it want to be around?
Nice splash pad in the sun would be nice, a
trees and
picnic
whatever's
table, or
gonna go
benches, yep, that would be
Give them a
beautiful.
first aid station. Next to the barbecue pit. That we don't
I
have.
know what it is.
We'll build a garage for an ambulance right there.
There you go.
There's at least a half a dozen concrete pads that used to have little
Campsites.
cottages on there, out there, scattered
Yes,
throughout.
first aid.
And those are always nice little locations to set up a picnic area, all in the shade. I don't think there's one of them in the sun, if my memory serves
There
right.
isn't any in the sun that I know up there. You don't have to put a roof over them like they did the old days. They had roofs there at one time. Cause it was rain or shine, but we got to put it for the rain.
Is there a concession stand?
There is. There is.
And,
It's only open during softball events,
Okay.
technically, yeah.
I know someone had mentioned something, this was at our subcommittee
Mm-hmm.
meeting when we were throwing out ideas. Someone had talked about an ice cream food truck or something, I don't know.
Well, we do have, a guy in town who does come to our softball events, Licks, and he brings his ice cream truck.
Yes, okay.
Yep, yep, so,
Uncle Ben's on Rebel Road in Hudson used to
do they have a,
regularly come down to Darrow Pond. Don't know if they even still operate, but that's where they were located, and they used to come down when we had events. on a
yeah,
regular
so there's
basis.
another, yeah, we have another guy.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's, I mean, not that we,
Some of the benches we've had down there, the Boy Scouts have done as a project.
Mhm.
Each one we've done, the Boy Scouts have done.
yep,
Yeah, that was another suggestion too, if you ever had a project or something, I mean, something that would, the Boy Scouts could.
High school, sophomore project,
That too,
projects are big things today.
so the Eagles, we've had a couple of Eagle Scouts make signs for us in town, so we have the sign here at Darrah now,
Right.
and we have the one at, Sawmill Brook. The Eagle Scout, an Eagle Scout made that one, and an Eagle Scout made this one here,
And they made the kiosk down at.
and they made the kiosk at both locations, yeah,
Right.
yep.
What about, and I think you were talking about town hall, is there bathroom facilities there?
In Talent, yes.
In Howland, does
Yep.
the people use that, or are they're not porta potties or anything?
No,
Is it
there is a
porta-
porta potty.
There
There is
is,
porta- potty,
Handicapped access porta potty,
Yeah.
okay,
year round.
okay, cause that was put on the thing
Yes.
too.
It's kind of adjacent to the playground, if it's still, is that where it was?
Yeah.
I don't know if they moved it, okay.
Yeah, back near the end of the fence.
Yeah.
So it's, in terms of, the recreation area, the recreation building, town, I know you say you don't have money to restore it, but if you, say you had the money and say, just out of the blue, you wanted to have something there, whether to improve it or what would you like to see there?
Splash pad.
What's that?
Splash pad.
No, you're talking about the indoor facility.
No, no, no.
Oh, indoor, oh, I thought you
I'm
said,
sorry, yeah,
okay,
indoor
I'm sorry,
facility.
indoor.
Realistically,
We would
A new
like-
building?
We would like a building
Yes.
large enough to house
Well,
a sports field, soccer fields and
Complex, a
such.
sports
So-
As
complex.
well as
Complex.
a complex,
Okay.
as well as a couple of basketball courts indoors.
all right,
We had discussions about doing something down off of Page Road, some possible land to be donated. We went round and round, and again, that number I threw out there, about $2.5 to $3.5 million, is about where we came out with things that we've thrown out there. And the only thing we didn't include in that, which I think was another one of your ideas, was a pool, which is part of the survey they did in the town. An indoor pool had been requested and access in that survey going across.
now I know, Talent seems to have some historical, I don't know, the historical piece to it.
Listen,
We can put a sign up.
a plaque that said Town Hall used to be here.
Yeah,
Fine.
that would work,
I don't know.
yep, yep.
But okay, so
we promised the name and
A
doing the
nice
same
picture
thing.
of it, yeah.
That's it.
I
The,
think
the
main
way,
building can be used for something in the future, and add on to it, or something you wish to do like that. I'm just try not to use what we got and still get something too, okay? I like old stuff, look at me, okay?
We'll move it to your house, Kevin, we'll just move it down there.
Yeah.
But you'd like to see, if the future, whatever the future holds, you'd like to see a complex or something?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They'd be-
That would be ideal.
You build it, and they will come. It's,
most of the town residents end up utilizing locations in Derry and Bedford and Nashville right now for their indoor facilities, and they pay for all of that. And
They're private. The companies that go, they're all private.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
correct, yeah, we're paying private companies, yeah.
It's a managed type situation.
You mean, if you build that sort of a complex, you're gonna have to hire someone to manage it. Now, in reality, you should be able to pay that person and pay the building off within a certain number of years by renting that thing to other outside organizations when you don't have the time.
the organization that built their facility in Hampton had a 14-year plan to pay off their building, running their building
The Rim?
for profit.
The rim?
It's,
Up in Hampton, yeah,
yeah,
it's probably
yeah.
paid off right now,
Yeah,
right?
14 years is what because I sat with the owners and went over, though I like the way they constructed their facility. It was a 14-year payout plan they had set up based on how much they were paying people to run the place and how much it cost them to build it. But we'd be in an interesting place because we could come in, but the town would still have to have paid for the building ahead of time.
Like, there's, I mean, I think, like, there are times, like, you know, Tewksbury, namely, they built a turf field at the high school, and this is just from memory. They don't, when they don't use it, they're renting it, and they paid that thing off in 5 years.
Yep.
EMA,
They made the money back.
Presentation of
EMA
Mary
does that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, you know, when you,
Yep.
people, even outdoor fields, people are gonna use a turf complex no matter what it is, because you can use it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, you can use it right up until the snow flies and.
And
Just
half
plow
the
it.
time, just get rid of the
Plow
snow.
it. Yeah, when the snow does land, you just plow it.
Yeah,
So yes, that would be,
Somebody was telling me WPI actually built a parking garage, multi-level parking garage, and on top of it, they put a turf field. What a great idea for that in, because then you got dry parking and place for a nice field. But our room for a facility at Darrow is fairly limited without taking the building down, if you think about the way
it's
it
gonna
laid
go
out.
down.
Because we're looking at
The buildings to the paved area in the back will go. Your subsurface is gonna be the entry to the leach field. We'll be putting them underneath the ball field.
What about skating on the pond?
On the pond, now you did say, no, in all seriousness, there is a spring though, and I know we've had Winterfest, and it doesn't, one person put his leg through, right, because it didn't, even though it was cold, it wasn't,
There's a freeze because it's coming up from
Yeah.
under the ground,
It
so
didn't-
it's
right.
always moving water.
right.
So, yeah.
So I don't know how, I mean, it would have to be really cold for an extended
I mean,
period of time, I
let's put it
think.
this way: they're also, you know, I mean, we can talk about skating on the pond or barbecue pits, but then now we're bringing, or even like you have the ropes course. If you're going to make it publicly used, now you're bringing in a lot of liability for
Yeah.
all those. Like, oh yeah, we sanction you skating on the pond. Okay, now all of a sudden someone falls through.
If we were to do skating, I'd rather see us freeze underneath the pavilion and put an ice skating rink
Yeah,
right
and-
inside the
In
pavilion.
the pavilion? Okay.
And that would be my choice on something like
What I
that.
run
Now you're
into
not dealing with
skating
weather on
is
it.
fishing. People fish in the middle of where you wanna skate.
Right,
You're skating along and all of a sudden you see a hole where somebody's been ice fishing.
yeah, I mean, we have built the,
Obstacle course.
I'd like it on the field, yeah,
Yeah.
skating rink on the field.
The maintenance on the field was the hard part.
Yes.
You gotta shovel it off, you gotta take care of it. We had it on the basketball courts
Yep.
one year.
Yep.
Ice skating rink has been a,
Yeah, it
you
is.
know,
Right,
it's
no, I
about somebody willing to do the work. And it's not a short time amount of work. And then maintenance goes along with it. There are multiple ponds in town that are used by residents in town for ice skating right now. You see people creating their own rinks, just nobody's done Darrow before, that I've seen.
Okay, so if it was something that it would be, we'd like to see, it could be an indoor thing if it wanted to be at some point.
I mean, the pavilion's not used after,
No,
pretty much after our turkey bowl, it's not
Correct.
used.
Yep.
One of my thoughts has always been that would be a great, with lights, hey, come on out and skate and have a blast. I've seen it in other parts of northern New Hampshire where they've got a covered ice skating rink and nobody has to worry about it.
That's with that little Christmas
You have
ceremony.
anything, Kim, that you wanna add?
No, I think, we
Most
covered
of it?
most of that, and we wanted to see where it fit in the other parks that you have in town, obviously, you know, we didn't wanna have something duplicated here that you might have already been handling somewhere else.
What do you guys think? I mean, we're basically here to listen to you, so I mean, I think you've given us some great suggestions.
so is it only Darrow that you're looking at improving, or did you, as you mentioned, the other parks, we do have Sawmill?
Well, there is Sawmill,
Brook with
there
the
are
tennis
other
court.
parks. We focused specifically on Darrow when we had the meeting. But, this is something that can be used for other areas in town, obviously, if you wanted to, think of things that, might be of a potential opportunity as a vision statement for the town, for future.
So impact fees for us, our next level of impact fee usage we have to build a pair of tennis courts and a playground before we can spend funds on other parts of impact fees. Those were put into our requests years ago based on the fact that 4 tennis courts is what's required to have a high school tennis team. And we had put in the original Litchfield Park at Sawmill that we wanted to put a playground in there. So we will have funds coming on board from the new construction taking place off of Page Road. As those funds come in, this group will have to keep going across towards that. That's how we've done most of our construction in town, is through impact fees and additional fields that would go on. You know, most of them are sports fields as they go. We've got a couple baseball complexes right now, 2 of those. We've got the soccer complex off of Brickyard, which is just soccer now. Lacrosse doesn't go there at all, right? And that's in the back of Brickyard going out. The Jeff Lane and Corning, Jeff Lane's all being redone. The Corning baseball field's been in pretty good shape for a while. And then we use the school facilities after that. That's where we stand. We have other pieces of land that have been assigned at points to the recreation group. There's one off of Talent Road. The selectmen had told me at one point if we wanted to do something back there behind the fire station. He's looking at me blank back there. The old proposed fire station on Talent Road, there's a chunk of land they talked back there. It's fairly wet back there, so we never did anything. And then there was a potential of getting some land donated to the Recreation Commission off of Page Road, where that new construction area is going in. Don't know if that's still standing. It hasn't happened, but that's where we stand with complexes and fields that are ours. And then we have the trails for the Litchfield State Forest. The Conservation Commission has Moores Falls, and that's the only one I can remember the name of. The other one on the north side of town. And river access, I saw on your list.
Project,
The river access project is going through quite quickly. State met with the contractor and Troy Brown last week. So that's headed to quick fruition.
There was another park talked about in the, potentially in the community design, was on the riverfront, near the old town hall.
Across the
area.
street from the fire
Oh,
station.
where the
Gazebo
muster
and maybe,
field
you know,
is?
there was other things that, it's nothing, obviously, it's just a wish list at this point, but if it became something, would have to.
I'd love to see something
Like a
across
park
the
or
fire
something. I think that
might
was
also
the,
be, you know, be
And this,
discussed.
what was that?
So we have land in town, not recreation land, but there's land in town
Conservation.
owned by the town across from the fire department, right on the river. There's a picnic table back there. It's to the left of the, from my memory, it's to the left of the
Right.
church's
It's in
little
the
building
Ivy or
there.
whatever's back there, yeah. It is there, I see
It
it.
goes up where the old railroad, the trolley tracks are, no?
Not there.
It doesn't go that far?
No. You go up to the hill, there used to be about a 2-acre field back there, it's all grown in, okay? And it goes right down to the lower part, it's lower on that part, you can get to the river, right, so that won't bring that up. Okay,
A few members of the planning group want that developed. They would love to see us clean that up and.
right.
Because Merrimack's doing it on the other side.
We
okay.
understand. Yeah.
Conservation has
Or
done
at least
some planning
starting to
things
do
up
that,
there.
so
Okay.
that,
There's a
it
proposal,
may
I
be a
think.
potential, something that they want in the town, as a vision, so that may become a park on that waterfront
Okay.
area,
So,
just to keep in mind if it
The bank
happens.
is washing in.
Steep, but it would be a nice place to sit and
I've lost
picnic
4 feet since I've been mowing it.
and look down. Would you have to?
Yeah, one other item I just wanted to put in front of you as the planning board, certainly the parks as a destination for recreation are our focus, but one other item that I think really contributes to folks being able to actively recreate is sidewalks. So, certainly the bike path is well used, but any kind of design making connectivity in the town, for example, Pinecrest from the schools to the bike path would be a huge, connection that will allow kids to bike to school. We don't have any breakdown lanes in this town, so people may be fearful of taking a bike on the road. So any place that we could look to designing in sidewalks, I think would help get people to the parks, but also get them out just to walk their dog or go for a bike ride safely.
Long-term discussion in this town, that's been a long-term discussion.
Yeah.
There's funds in that the town has right now designated for a bike path. $200,000, right? Sitting in a fund.
Correct, the remaining money on the bike path that wasn't spent.
Yeah, yeah.
Why didn't we spend that to build something down Pinecrest?
Because it wasn't designated for Pinecrest.
It was designated only for Albuquerque?
Can we get it changed?
It's, I can look into it.
Albuquerque Extension, new name.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, yeah, I mean, that's just, that type of money, when it's earmarked for something, you can't really vary from that purpose of the money. We're holding, what do we got, like $12,000 for a footbridge that the state paid us 20 years ago?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, one of the questions I had towards the bike path, and it only came up from reading the town reports, was could we use that funds to run the bike path off of Albuquerque and down into Sawmill Brook?
Oh, I see, so you'd have like a paved way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Take
see,
it to the
that's-
left of the tennis courts, down through the
Yeah.
trees, down to the playground that's not down there.
That seems to be like a legal use of the funds because it is right on Albuquerque as opposed to going down a separate road. I'll ask Troy, I'll put an email to him.
To the left of the tennis courts.
I'd like to see it go to the left, almost where the river, the
Yeah,
stream
the
bed
stream, right.
was running and flow down through that way.
That's cool, that way
It's got a
down.
natural,
Yeah, you're not gonna be going down with the cars, with the
right,
parking,
wanna
yeah.
keep it away from the cars.
Yep.
Give it an access point to the playground that I'd love to see get constructed
Yeah.
over the next 2 years, if not this year. Especially as the funds come in July.
Up next to the tennis courts, you wanna put it right in the back.
What's that?
You wanna put the playground in the back?
Playground down the bottom of the hill,
Yeah.
down to the fields. Just like the other playgrounds, we wanna have it close to the fields so the kids can play when they're not playing.
Something when the kids aren't playing and the parents are down there, where you don't know who's in the playground from the distance, that's what I'm saying. That's the bother.
So Mike, is this, obviously you've inquired for our interest and what we're,
Yes.
so what happens next?
So what happens next is we're gonna take these ideas, Cassie's been nice enough to take notes this evening. We're gonna take these ideas back to the subcommittee.
Okay.
At the, planning board meeting, I think it's on Tuesday, the 17th is on the subcommittee. April 17th, is when we meet, and, we'll have further discussions on what you folks talked about, to us about, and, incorporating some of the suggestions and ideas and so, and go from there, so.
Okay.
And you're all welcome to attend the meeting on April 17th if you like.
Do you meet here?
Yes.
Yep.
7 o'clock.
Okay, great.
The one thing I agree with Peter on is some of the structures are there already, so you may wanna get more of an accurate lay of where those structures are. You know what I mean? The kiosk, what side the kiosk on, there is pretty much a road that runs down there. It's, almost all of it's paved now, right?
Well, it is, yeah, right past,
Right, so, I mean,
Talent.
there are things that are already there, the pavilion's already there, the snack shack's already there, so, I mean, there are those things that are missing or, not properly represented on this,
Okay.
on that plan that you set up being recommendations where they're actuals. So, just to have a layout and to be like, well, there's already a pavilion, we don't have to build one, or it's already this, so.
If you're looking to do a site walk, and you wanna give me a call,
Okay.
I'll show you where the paths are. Even in the snow, I can show you where the things are. I've walked all of
Okay.
that back there and, no problem doing that.
Yeah, I'll suggest it to the subcommittee, and I'll get.
You have, all my information's on the planning board, cause I went to the, couple of those meetings. You've already got my phone number, email and
Great.
everything, so.
So we can contact you, and that'd be great. Well, I want to thank all of you for, taking the time to, listen to us and give your input, and we'll definitely keep you in the loop. Okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
you
very
guys.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming.
Kevin, are you on the agenda? Or are you just hanging with us?
Oh, so Tim's actually showed up, so he must be a hangout. Like,
See, we haven't seen
Hey,
Kevin
you
in.
showed up at a key moment here. I'm
long
okay
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Thank you.
that. Let's see. Planning committee covered Christmas this year. Review bylaws, officer positions. You want to do
So,
our next
About a year, yep.
next item that we're supposed to talk about is bylaws and officer positions.
but do we want to talk about the request?
yeah, we still we can request too,
All right,
which
that's fine because it's not. Oh yeah, that's right. I said add that. I don't know what you did. All
So I
right, so we
did
got.
ask Rick, they don't have a concrete date yet because of obviously the weather. He didn't
Right.
think the 15th was gonna be a problem.
Oh, mama.
I mean, usually the Sundays aren't, but
Exactly.
they're
Cleanup-
requesting.
Cleanup on Saturday.
Yeah, they're requesting,
about what
and they said all day Saturday too, and I'm like, all day Saturday? I'm like,
I wanna get this done.
I don't know how much, and I don't know how much cleaning up that she's proposing. It could still be, I don't know what the weather's gonna look like. Do they
oh,
want talent?
there's a bunch, I mean, there's so many
You're talking 2
variables.
weeks out. 2 weeks out.
So, you know what I mean?
So, I mean, it's just.
But all I was concerned with, okay, if because I've seen softball have opening day.
Oh, yeah. I asked him. I did ask him. I said,
Right.
listen, we have a
I
request.
mean, and Darrow's gonna dry, I mean, Darrow always dries out long before Sawmill dries out, so
Right.
it's like, you can't base it on that.
Yeah, the 8U field is already looking good. He's already checked the 8U
Yeah,
field, but I
so-
don't think, it's,
Sidewalk and bike.
the 15th being a Sunday shouldn't be a problem at all.
Right.
If they were going to do
Jeff Quay's
cleanup
house?
day, say LGSL was holding cleanup day,
Right.
then I guess Earth Day and cleanup day, Earth Day and LGSL could combine the cleanup effort that same day.
All right. So how about
Those are the bike path.
if we put Jessica in touch with
Rick?
Rick?
Yeah.
And can we do a, what do you want to call it, an approval of this subject to?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make a motion, actually, here, I'll make a motion and we can discuss it. We have a request for usage for 4/14 and 4/15, Saturday and Sunday, for an Earth Day celebration, a week early. It's a for-profit, Campbell High School's Environmental Club. Catherine Devine's a staff advisor. Jessica Grondine is a junior in the high school. She's running this. They'll be selling seed bombs, clusters of wildflower seeds. They'll have raffles. They want to bring about awareness about environmental issues, hosting events, conserving land, beautifying the community, and other club activities. That's what's written here. I'm going to make a motion that we approve this subject to working with the softball organization for times and activities that link in with them doing the cleanup. Do I have a second?
I will second.
I got a second. Discussion.
Nowhere on there does it ask to use talent.
No,
It's
in fact,
actually
in fact,
crossed
she
off.
crossed it
Okay.
out
So,
and did all the fields.
then that's, I mean, that was
Yep.
the big question,
Yep.
so.
Mine too.
Are the porta potties are winterized right now?
Porta potties are winterized but usable. That's what we
Right.
do with the one there.
Okay.
You can use it all year.
That one we keep going all year.
Not that many
That
people
one, yeah,
use it,
the
but
one's
it's available.
There's always a foot trail to it in the snow.
Those cross-country skiers going across Darrow Pond use it.
Oh.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 500. I'll give
So,
that to you.
yeah,
so
I'll
you'll
have
that
those two
information.
get together.
The other request we had in here was from Litchfield Cub Scouts looking to use the pavilion at Roy Memorial Park on June 13th, a Wednesday from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. The only organization that would probably be on that at all would be softball, but the pavilion itself isn't something that you guys
Yeah, I don't think that would
are
be
utilizing.
just the pavilion. And what was
So-
the time?
From 5 o'clock
To 8 o'clock?
until 8 o'clock for the purpose of Litchfield Cub Scouts end-of-year barbecue.
Okay.
It's the only question that I would have on this, subject to the fire chief's approval of having a barbecue out there.
Well, they'd bring a gas grill, not a,
Yeah,
you
'cause
guys,
we-
they have gas grills there anyway, so, you know, it's.
Right, we've never had them, yeah.
All right, I make a motion that we accept this. Do I have a second?
I'll second it. I'll second it.
Mike's got the second, sorry, you've lost. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, excellent, 500.
I will get you the, I will
Can you
get you
reach out
the,
Because you're accumulating all of that stuff, and that's wonderful.
Well, I'll just reach out to, so,
it's Marie,
It's
my
really,
wife.
did he give his contact info?
That's my wife.
Kurt's
Oh, it's your
wife.
wife.
I will, I'll get you the certificate
Denied.
of liability.
Denied, denied.
Hey, come on.
Just kidding.
They've done that last year too, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was the same Cub Scout group last year.
Oh, it was? Oh,
You know, you guys were apparently nice enough to let him have the field for a few hours.
we were?
I know, can you
nice.
imagine?
We were.
Softball being nice with their facilities.
So Kevin just handed me a sheet of paper of 30. Huh?
I took it back to.
Yeah, well, showed me a piece of paper about a new heating system for Town Hall for a cost of $38,000. Obviously, that's not in our budget here.
What I try to do is get an estimate, this whole has to go out to bid because it's all over the $3,500. So what I try to do is get a figure that would use the existing condition. I didn't wanna deal with changing out the ductwork in there because of the nature of the building and what other issues the building may have. Try to stay with the same that we have now. Now that'll be underneath the building, in a few future, check out a few soft spots, there'll probably be more issues. But this is just an estimate of I'm gonna say $38,000, and that's just, the unit itself is 33, because it's a commercial unit, okay? It's not just simple, residential one or an office building one where you got office space. This is a big hall, you gotta move the air around more. So that's what it's all about. We talked about air, and for air, you're gonna add,
Yeah, no.
don't go there.
So as a line item and putting it as a warrant article, we in the past haven't done that for anything related to maintenance. We've added stuff to our budget.
Correct.
So that would be my recommendation, is that we would add it to our budget as a 1-year hit. And,
We'll get the specs, we'll get it ready for the budget, and we'll go on to the next one, because the building's not gonna come down soon, okay?
Yes, it is.
We still got another
Kevin.
20-year bond.
Kevin, why are we putting money into the thing?
Well, that's why we gotta maintain what we have.
No, you're talking, I think we should put a proposal together to get a warrant article to get a new building and not keep putting money into this.
Write it up. I'm all for that.
I don't get the $40,000 for something and not, I mean, not you, Kevin, it's not you, it's just, why put $40,000 in a building that we should just take down and put to rest?
I have no problem with that. If you want to, if somebody wants to,
That's a
write
great
it,
alternative.
and
I mean,
How do we,
I know.
I just don't understand, I mean,
remember, we
keep
need
it for another, 20 years?
2/3 or 60%. 60% to get a bond for a $2.5 or $3 million building.
you need 6 out of 10 people to vote yes to get,
On the selectmen?
no, on town election day. Town
Oh, 6
voting
out of
day.
10 people to
6
vote.
out of 10
Yeah.
to,
60%.
And they got that for a fire department
By 50 votes.
by 50 votes. That isn't even, nothing against the fire department, I mean.
No, I'm just saying.
But we use this thing every day.
Uh,
It gets used every day.
You probably find we have more love for this than we had in the past. I'm just saying that, but the residents, okay, because of kids and everything else. And then the older generation is using the building.
It's
Not
true.
gonna deny that the
Yeah,
building-
they love it. They love using the
It might be
facility.
it might be the time to throw something together.
yeah, do it.
If
I
I
mean, do
could.
it for March, because we have, I'm gonna tell you right now, there's nothing big right next year, unless the school system comes up with something. But as far as we know on the municipal side, we have nothing coming up. So, I mean, this would be the year.
Of course not, because they just approved a $3.75 million.
And my only fear is
fire
once you
station.
do it, and you get shot down, you can't go back, right?
Well, no means no for 1 year.
One
Oh,
year.
what, 1 year? Okay.
One
just
year.
One year.
Just 1 year.
So if we did do a warrant article
Yeah.
request, we could still put this in our budget. If the warrant article fails, then we would spend the money on this.
Okay.
You gotta look at the balance, okay? You gotta have something there. You can use the unit again,
Okay.
okay? Because it's an outside unit that you can take and add it in anything you got built, okay?
We spent close to this amount of money in the last 10 years just repairing this thing,
I know.
which is why we talked about putting a new unit
I
in,
know.
and then we
I
then we go on
get
from
getting the new unit. I do understand that.
there. I'd rather have the building. No doubt.
The controls of the unit are very good now. They all been changed now. The chamber is all good. What they were doing in the past, they didn't deal with the control inside the building. We got rid of the old toggle switch. It's all on electronic, it's running a lot better. We had 2 glitches this winter, just 2, which is, last year I remember it was 4 or 5, because people were putting their fingers and stuff. Okay, this year, there was a finger problem again on both of them, but that's here or there, okay? They're up and running. Got a little close with where that cold freeze and pipes are, but that's okay.
All right.
So, one thing, guy.
We have, I mean, so we have a heat. No, I know we need a heating unit. I know we need a floor. I mean, there's so many things that need to be improved in this building. It's not just one thing. It's multiple things. And space. Multiple courts. Multiple.
So I would like to not put it in the budget. I would like, if we're gonna do this piecemeal, like, let's fix itty bitty things one at a time, I'd like the voters to see it. And if we're gonna do the alternative, I'd like them to see them at the same time. Because if it's stuck in our budget, no one's gonna know about it. But if they know that we're just pissing money away by fixing little things that, you know, put Band-Aids on it, I think they should know that, and that there's an alternative to not doing that, you know? Because otherwise they're gonna never know it. So certainly it's easy to get it through, but I kind of want it to be out there.
Here's the bigger problem, though. The bigger problem with that is okay, you put out both on a warrant article, both get shot down.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden, the heating system goes, what do? We don't have the money in the budget anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why any
And it was voted down, so we can't even replace it.
Right.
We
Yeah,
can't
no
take
means
town
no for a
funds.
year.
Right.
the reason you could put in
Suicide.
the warrant article to build a new building, hey, this is what we're spending on an annual basis to keep this building going, and these are the failures of this building. You could state all that
Yeah.
with dollar values without tying our hands to doing this if the building isn't approved.
Can I just add one little thing to this whole thing? It's nice to say you want, you need, we have, we like to have, but you gotta have something behind it to back it up as to what's going on. So if the evaluation of the main building has to be determined, which we know, I can give you some things. The expansion of the programs that you wish to have, okay, is needed, and that's gonna be the key factor on size. Is, cause whatever you do with size, you're gonna be doing with, the water's not a problem, you gotta deal with sewer, on-site wells, I mean, septic. Granted, we got good soils, we'll be good up there. Okay, we can do a lot.
Does not mean it has to be at this location, though.
Correct, but I'm just saying, okay?
You know that, I mean, maybe you don't. We have a study going on right now that encompasses rec, highway, solid waste. We're launching that this year. So that's gonna take a look at everything that we do, exterior-wise, recreation department. So that's, this town hall thing
To be part of it.
will be part of it, yeah. I mean, so we decided that we were gonna, have municipal resources come in, and
So they look at
Look at everything.
usage, or what do they look at?
they're looking at everything, like how we do business, like why, and this, this is just a rudimentary thought. Why do we have 4 different landscapers that work for the town? And maybe enhancing, streamlining everything to a Parks and Rec department, which I know will never happen, but that's just, they're gonna start looking at things like that. Because our town is growing and we need to start thinking ahead and trying to figure out ways of, streamlining how we do business and how we handle stuff. And Town Hall is definitely on the list of things that are gonna be looked at. So we could have municipal resources will come in, they'll look at Town Hall, they'll determine that, hey, the building is, X amount of life left to it based on what we know, and then it'll give us a plan moving forward is how to, what to do.
But I guess my question to the municipal resources who come in, how do they know how it's being utilized? Do they come to us? Do they ask?
No,
They will come to us and ask us? Okay,
They'll come,
all right,
yeah.
okay.
They'll talk to John a lot. They'll talk to each department head and each committee head.
Okay.
And so I mean, it's a very methodical, purposeful report that's going to look at everything and how we do it. So
Okay, good, that's great. I mean, they can just see the calendar.
They did this 12, 14 years ago?
yeah,
which is where some of the stuff that we have now came from. Lack of fields was huge back then. It was a huge topic back then, and that got into our planning.
That's how Sawmill
Town
was born,
planning for
basically,
that.
yeah. So it gives you a blueprint as far as how to improve the town recreationally, or whatever we're focusing on now. Recreation just happens to be part of it because we're trying to figure out, you know, Parks and Rec and cemeteries and solid waste and highway, how we can become a better fiscally responsible town. And so recreation's gonna be part of the study.
Thank you, Kevin. I didn't mean to shoot down your,
I'm used to getting shot.
I'm sorry. I like the 38,000. It's
I
just,
have a coat with a black hole.
Thanks a lot for that.
Thank you for doing that,
Oh,
though, Kevin.
you always
Kevin,
got a
yes.
nice
Thank
news,
But you
Kevin.
wanted to get a real figure.
I did.
Yes.
thank you.
The chief got this? Don't,
Yes.
thank you.
I
Thank
had
you.
to send it to him, but I wanted to come here first, because he was the head man on this whole thing.
Yes, he is.
Okay?
Than's Kevin.
He's gonna get this tomorrow.
Excellent,
But
thank
He
you.
doesn't know how we got to it.
All right, next item on our agenda
night, Kevin.
said, review bylaws and officer positions.
Again, Keith had the materials on that. So
We still haven't seen the bylaws.
All righty,
I'm-
assigned standing task to rec commission, we're still holding off on that, or?
Yeah, I think it didn't follow up on it, but I think your idea last time of putting something out there ahead of the next meeting, I can send it. I got the little template. I can put that out as a starting point. Ask everyone to fill it out by the Friday before our next meeting.
Okay.
And then we'll use that as a jumping off point.
Reappointments, I sent yours
I know
and
me and
Kevin
Keith, we both said yep.
to the selectmen, I assume they did it last meeting?
No, we haven't.
Oh,
We didn't
all
get
right.
this in
Troy,
time.
Troy's gonna bring it in front of the selectmen, but
We'll do it next meeting.
it wasn't something that we vote on here, because there's nobody in the waiting, so all Troy needed was a recommendation from me that you guys wanted
still
to
wanted it,
be
right.
re-upped, and both of you said yes, so I put you back in there. Did you find out if you were full or not?
I didn't. I think I actually had my.
Not that it, I mean, doesn't impact anything, because there's nobody to knock you
I
out
have
of
the
the
official
seat.
thing right here. The alternate member. I got the hardware right here. Alternate.
Alternate.
Well,
But he's gotta move into the full because Sandy's gone.
Correct, we should be switching him
Right.
to a full member from an alternate.
Can you do that, Kurt?
Troy would have to bring it to the select.
yeah,
Or is it?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so that would be, you can communicate to him.
I'll zip
John,
that
do you,
in.
yeah. Is that it?
That's all that's on the agenda.
The LRBL wants to be added to the next agenda.
LRBL?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the beginning of it.
That guy's gonna
Peter,
get
are
his
you doing the
toll rope
agendas
back.
from now on?
Well,
Okay.
I was talking to Jason Canali, and as they said, the basketball hoop hasn't been fixed. And Jason's like, well, I mean, we were waiting to hear back from the rec commission. So John saying he contacted their president means that they are out of sorts as well, which,
He said they had a mason that volunteered
yeah.
to do
Anyway,
blah, blah, blah.
So they are intending to send someone to talk. Whether that's
Great.
going to help their situation or not, I can't say, but
To the
we
next
should
meeting.
ask them. Yes, they were going to come tonight, and they said there is a packed agenda tonight, so I'd recommend the next one. So yeah, they want to be added to the next one.
Good. Because we've got no connection there right now.
Nope.
My only connection
April
is reffing games. I get to chat with the
Yeah.
officers when I'm there reffing, which they love. Anything else? Take a motion to adjourn? Second?
Motion to adjourn,
All in
second.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 500.
Okay,
Thank you much, all.
that's good.